The moment the world has been preparing for is not coming in the future. It is not hidden behind a distant technological horizon or locked away in the minds of developers waiting for a perfect day to deploy it. The moment has already begun. Quietly, globally, relentlessly, the rise of tokenized value is underway, and the systems designed to support it are not experimental test beds or vague theories. They are already live, already scaling, and already moving value at speeds and efficiencies that traditional finance cannot replicate. This is the part that most people still do not see. The new financial foundation is forming under their feet while they watch headlines instead of infrastructure. Right now, governments, banks, asset managers, and institutional rails are converting real-world value into digital tokens at a rate that is increasing every month. Treasury bonds, real estate portfolios, carbon credits, gold reserves, international remittance flows. Entire payment corridors that once depended on multiple intermediaries are quietly being rebuilt into streamlined digital pathways. The world is not preparing for tokenization. The world is already living in it. The movement is happening quietly because those who understand the shift know the greatest transformations do not begin with loud announcements. They begin with rails. This is where the story turns sharply toward a single asset that was designed before most people even understood the purpose of digital infrastructure. XRP was not built to be a speculative asset or a mimetic token. It was engineered as a bridge for global value, a settlement asset capable of connecting every currency, every platform, every ledger, and every tokenized representation of value. In a world where everything is becoming tokenized, a neutral settlement layer is no longer optional. It is required. The entire system collapses without it. This is the reason XRP has remained at the center of serious institutional dialogue. Regardless of market cycles or public sentiment, the rise of tokenized everything is not happening on a single blockchain or through a single corporation. It is emerging from an interconnected network of rails, standards, and protocols. Yet there is only one asset that fits the role of a neutral bridge without competing interests, mining dependencies, or governance conflicts. XRP does not need to dominate every chain. XRP only needs to connect them. When every asset becomes tokenized, the chain that links them together becomes the most important component of the new system. This is the part of the story where the narrative becomes clear. Tokenization is not a trend. It is not a temporary phase or a speculative experiment. It is the next evolution of global finance. The infrastructure is being set. The standards are being deployed. The digital rails are coming online. And at the center of the settlement layer of this new world sits the asset that was built for this exact purpose long before the world understood why it would need it. This deep dive reveals how the rise of tokenized everything points directly toward XRP, why institutions have quietly aligned with its utility, and how the next phase of global value movement will reward the networks that were built with a clear purpose. Tokenization is not the future, it is the present. The question now is not when it happens. The question is who connects it all. Part 1. The quiet conversion of the world's value. The rise of tokenized everything did not begin with bold headlines or dramatic announcements. It began with small shifts inside the deepest layers of global finance, where institutions do not chase hype and do not make impulsive moves. They study timelines measured in decades, not days. They examine the cost of inefficiency with microscopic detail. They recognize slow pressure building inside aging financial systems that were never designed for a digital economy. This is where tokenization gained its first foothold. And this is the part of the story most people missed because there was nothing flashy about it. The first phase of tokenization did not involve speculation. It involved mapping. Institutions began by digitizing their internal records, converting paper trails into digital ledgers, and creating frameworks for how value could move more directly. Treasury systems that once required multiple intermediaries started to test what would happen if the movement of value became unified. This was the early blueprint for digital rails. Slowly, banks discovered that once value is represented digitally, it can settle instantly. Once assets are standardized, they can move without friction. Once ledgers speak a universal language, the entire financial world becomes interoperable. This is why the most powerful organizations began to shift. It was not because they wanted to participate in a trend. It was because the existing financial system was too slow, too costly, and too fragmented for the digital age. Payment processors, investment firms, global banks, and international settlement networks all reached the same conclusion. A fragmented financial system cannot survive a fully digital economy. The future requires unification, not through a single chain or a single corporation, but through a shared standard where value is represented digitally and moves instantly. This is the hidden backbone of modern tokenization. When people hear the word token, they often imagine speculative memes or volatile assets with no clear purpose. Institutions do not operate with that mindset. They view tokens as digital containers for real value. They see tokenization as a way to move real estate portfolios, international remittances, government bonds, insurance contracts, carbon credits, inventory systems, and global commodities across a unified digital rail. Tokenization makes every asset programmable. It unlocks liquidity from every corner of the economy. It creates new pathways for value transfer that never existed inside traditional systems. The scale of this shift is impossible to overstate. Millions of assets across countless industries are quietly being prepared for digital transformation. Government agencies are drafting frameworks for tokenized identity systems. Banks are testing tokenized FX flows. Corporations are experimenting with tokenized supply chains. Sovereign institutions are examining how tokenized treasuries can reduce friction and accelerate settlement. Each of these systems becomes exponentially more efficient when the assets traveling across them share a standardized digital format. This is not the future. It is already happening. The world is performing a silent migration into digital representation, and the reason this shift remains invisible to most people is because institutions are not promoting it. They are implementing it. They do not need public excitement. They need accuracy, compliance, and reliability. Tokenization is not designed to entertain. It is designed to rebuild global value movement from the ground up. However, there is one major challenge that institutions immediately understood. Tokenization solves representation, but it does not solve settlement. Digitizing an asset makes it more efficient, but it does not give that asset the ability to move seamlessly between different blockchains, banks, countries, or payment networks. With millions of tokenized assets emerging across countless platforms, the world needed something far more powerful than digitization. It needed a universal bridge. This is the moment where XRP enters the narrative with unmistakable clarity. The world did not need a new speculative asset. It needed a settlement engine. It needed a neutral, independent, efficient, scalable digital asset that could connect everything. XRP was engineered for this exact requirement long before tokenization became a global priority. As institutions continue converting value into digital form, they are discovering that the most important component of the new system is not the token itself. It is the rail that connects all of them together. Tokenization is the foundation. XRP is the bridge. Part 2. The rail beneath the rails. As the world accelerates into digital finance, institutions are discovering an issue they cannot ignore. They are tokenizing assets at a rapid pace, modernizing systems that once depended on slow intermediaries. Yet the more value they convert into digital form, the more they encounter the same barrier. These new systems do not naturally connect to one another. Each chain becomes its own island. A tokenized asset on one ledger cannot move freely to another. A digital currency inside a banking network cannot settle with a tokenized commodity on a private blockchain. The world is going digital, but it is not becoming unified. Tokenization solves representation but not movement. Without a neutral settlement layer, the entire system remains fragmented. This is the problem institutions face behind the scenes. They can digitize everything, but they cannot unify it. That is why a bridge asset was never a luxury. It was a requirement. The global economy needed something fast, efficient, and neutral that could settle value across any platform without bias or delay. This is where XRP stands apart. It was engineered specifically to solve the settlement problem. It does not try to dominate programmable networks or replace tokenized assets. It serves the role that every tokenized system depends on, a universal connector. XRP is not tied to a single jurisdiction. It does not rely on mining. It does not inherit the risk of an issuer. It sits above the competing networks rather than inside them. It is the rail beneath the rails. Bitcoin cannot fill this role due to limited throughput and reliance on mining cycles. Ethereum cannot fill it because it is built for programming, not neutral settlement. Stablecoins and CBDCs cannot fill it because they carry national or corporate risk. Institutions need something independent, scalable, and globally accessible. XRP is the only asset created with that exact purpose. As more industries adopt tokenization, the need for a universal settlement layer becomes undeniable. Payment networks need it. Asset managers need it. Cross-border systems need it. Once enough value becomes digitized, the asset that connects all systems becomes more important than the systems themselves. This is why XRP continues to reappear in global financial discussions, not as a trend, not as a meme, as the settlement engine the digital economy requires. Tokenization builds the new world, but it cannot operate at scale without a neutral bridge that moves value across every platform. That bridge is XRP. Part 3. The institutional shift toward digital settlement. The clearest sign that tokenization is not a trend, but a structural shift is found in the behavior of institutions. Retail speculation rises and falls, but institutional behavior is steady, deliberate, and deeply aligned with long-term strategy. When the largest financial entities in the world begin redesigning their settlement architecture, it signals a direction that is not temporary. It signals a new foundation forming beneath the global economy. The move toward tokenized assets began quietly inside private environments. Banks tested digital versions of their internal records. Investment firms explored tokenized representations of portfolios. Settlement networks examined how digital assets could reduce multi-day delays. These early tests revealed something unexpected. Tokenization did not simply modernize old systems. It exposed how inefficient the legacy system truly was. Once value was digitized, it became clear that instant settlement was not just possible. It was necessary. This realization triggered a second wave. Institutions no longer viewed tokenization as a technological upgrade. They viewed it as a competitive requirement. A bank that can settle instantly will always outperform one that moves value across multi-day windows. An asset manager who can tokenize portfolios can unlock liquidity that traditional systems cannot match. Global payment providers discovered that tokenized FX and tokenized treasuries could eliminate layers of cost that have existed for decades. Yet even with this progress, the same problem kept resurfacing. Each institution could modernize internally, but they could not bridge externally. Their tokenized assets could not move frictionlessly across different networks. Their digital currencies could not settle across foreign systems without old methods slowing the process down. The digital world was forming, but it was forming in fragments. This challenge pushed institutions to look beyond tokenization and toward settlement itself. They needed a neutral asset that could operate without bias or national alignment. They needed something accepted in every corridor and compatible with every ledger. They needed a bridge asset capable of settling value instantly at global scale. This was no longer a theoretical requirement. It was practical and unavoidable. This is where XRP returned to the center of institutional focus. It was not built to host thousands of tokens or run complex contracts. It was built for settlement. Its speed, efficiency, neutrality, and interoperability aligned perfectly with the demands of the new digital economy. Institutions recognized that XRP solved the problem tokenization created. It connected everything. Today, the largest financial entities are not studying XRP because of speculation. They are studying it because the digital world they are building requires a universal connector. Tokenization provides the structure. XRP provides the movement. Tokenization expands the digital landscape. XRP unifies it. The institutions shaping the next generation of finance understand this alignment with clarity. Tokenization is rising. Settlement is shifting. The institutions leading this transformation are quietly positioning themselves around the bridge that makes the entire system function. That bridge is XRP. Part 4. The global rails coming online. The next major shift in the rise of tokenized value is happening at the national and international level. Countries are building digital frameworks around identity, payments, bonds, commodities, and settlement. Central banks are modernizing their infrastructure. Payment standards are being unified. The world is not moving toward a single digital currency. It is moving toward a network of tokenized systems that must operate seamlessly together. This is where global rails come into focus and why the settlement layer becomes more important than any single chain. In many regions, governments are rolling out tokenized treasury programs. These digital bonds settle faster, reduce risk, and create new liquidity channels. Major banks are issuing tokenized deposits, testing their performance in cross-border corridors. Corporations are converting supply chain elements into digital tokens to track movement, authenticity, and settlement visibility. Each of these shifts strengthens the digital infrastructure forming around the global economy. At the same time, international standards, such as ISO formats and unified messaging systems, are being implemented to ensure that financial data moves cleanly across borders. These standards do not choose winners. They create interoperability. When the rails are unified, the systems running on top of them must connect through a universal layer capable of moving value instantly. Tokenization unlocks new forms of efficiency, but it also creates new flows that must settle at speeds the traditional system cannot support. This is where global institutions encounter the same reality. They can build tokenized frameworks inside their borders, but once value needs to move internationally, they face the same limitations. The old settlement methods do not scale. They cannot support the speed, volume, or complexity of the new digital environment. The world needs a neutral connector that can move value between tokenized currencies, tokenized assets, private networks, and public ledgers. It needs a bridge asset that is not tied to one country or one corporation. This is why XRP aligns perfectly with the direction of global expansion. The asset is not designed to replace national systems. It is designed to connect them. It operates independently from central banks, yet it can settle across their frameworks. It does not require a single global chain. It thrives in a multi-chain world. The more tokenized systems appear, the more useful the bridge becomes. Today, this pattern is visible everywhere. When a central bank tests a digital currency, one of the first questions is how it will connect across borders. When a financial institution issues a tokenized deposit, the next concern is how it will settle outside its internal network. When a government launches a digital identity system, its effectiveness depends on how it integrates with international standards. These challenges all point in the same direction. Tokenization expands the digital map. XRP unifies it. The global rails are not coming online to compete with one another. They are forming a layered network where different systems serve different purposes. Tokenized assets provide representation. Private ledgers provide control. Public networks provide transparency. International standards provide structure. At the center of all of it, the world needs a settlement rail that flows beneath the entire design. That settlement rail is XRP. The more the world builds, the clearer its purpose becomes. Part 5. The moment everything converges. Every major transformation in global finance begins the same way. First, systems modernize on their own. Then those systems begin to expand. Eventually, they collide with one another. And the world realizes that separate upgrades cannot function without unified settlement. This is the point the world is reaching right now. Tokenization has advanced far enough that individual networks are no longer the focus. The focus is shifting to what connects those networks together. The convergence of tokenized currencies, tokenized commodities, tokenized deposits, tokenized treasuries, and programmable value does not create a smooth landscape by itself. It creates millions of new flows that must settle with precision. Every bank entering the digital era needs settlement that is instant. Every corporation using tokenized supply chains needs a bridge to external systems. Every government issuing digital frameworks needs interoperability with foreign markets. The world is not simply digitizing value. It is building a global digital mesh that requires the strongest possible settlement core. This is where the true purpose of XRP becomes clear. It is not designed to dominate the tokenized world. It is designed to enable it. Its speed solves the timing problem. Its neutrality solves the bias problem. Its scalability solves the volume problem. Its independence solves the jurisdiction problem. XRP is not a competitor to the systems being built. It is the missing piece that allows all of them to function without friction. When institutions examine XRP, they do not focus on price movement or short-term speculation. They evaluate it through a different lens. They study settlement finality. They measure throughput. They test cross-network reliability. They analyze independence from political or corporate influence. They examine its ability to operate above the systems that need a unifying bridge. XRP passes these requirements cleanly, which is why it continues to reappear in strategic discussions across the globe. The true shift happens when enough systems depend on a common function. Once the digital economy requires instant, neutral settlement, The asset designed for that task becomes unavoidable. XRP becomes more valuable not because of hype, but because of necessity. The more the world tokenizes, the more it requires a universal connector. The more value becomes digital, the more important the settlement rail becomes. This is the final stage of the transformation. Tokenization is no longer a theoretical innovation. It is becoming the operational backbone of global finance. Blockchains are not competing for dominance. They are aligning into a multi-network environment. Governments are not fighting digital frameworks. They are adopting them. Institutions are not experimenting with tokenization. They are integrating it into core operations. The world is converging. In this convergence, the digital economy needs one thing above all else: a neutral asset that links every network, every currency, every ledger, and every tokenized representation of value. The future of global finance is not decided by which chain hosts the most tokens. It is decided by which rail connects them with perfect consistency. That rail is XRP. Its moment arrives when the world realizes that tokenization cannot function at scale without the bridge that ties everything together. That moment is approaching, quietly, inevitably, structurally. The rise of tokenized everything is already here. The rise of the settlement asset that completes it is next. The bridge that finishes the system. The world is entering a phase where the scale of change can no longer be ignored. Value is moving faster. Systems are becoming smarter. The global economy is shifting from slow, paper-based frameworks to fully digital environments that never pause and never wait. Tokenization is not a distant concept. It is the new operating layer of global finance. As every asset becomes programmable and every ledger becomes connected, the final requirement becomes clear. The world does not need more isolated systems. It needs a settlement rail capable of linking every system together. This is where the entire story converges. XRP does not succeed because of speculation. It succeeds because the world requires a neutral bridge that can settle any form of value across any network. It succeeds because no other asset matches its alignment with the needs of global institutions. It succeeds because tokenization scales until settlement becomes the most important function in the digital economy. XRP was engineered specifically for that function, long before the world understood how essential it would be. As nations move toward digital currencies, as banks expand tokenized deposits, as corporations build programmable supply chains, and as the global financial system transitions into a fully connected network, the settlement layer becomes the foundation that everything depends on. The world is discovering that tokenization is only half of the transformation. The other half is the bridge that allows all tokenized systems to communicate, settle, and flow as one unified structure. That bridge is XRP. The world may not recognize it at the beginning of the shift, but it becomes unavoidable by the end. Every expansion of digital value strengthens the role of the asset designed to connect it. This is the silent turning point happening now. Tokenization rises first. The settlement layer rises after. The institutions building the future understand both phases clearly. The new financial era is arriving, and the systems that connect the world will define it. XRP is one of those systems. It is the connector that completes the design. The digital economy is here. The rails are forming. The settlement engine is ready. Now the world begins to move. This is LTL Productions. If you want deeper insights into the rise of tokenization, the evolution of digital rails, and the expanding role of XRP, make sure you subscribe and stay locked in. The next chapter of this transformation is just beginning.